So in this video, I'm going to take your left hand accompany pattern from something very basic like this. Let's pick a simple song. So you can see that's pretty basic. We're just playing basic triad chords on our left hand. Okay. But how about if I take your left hand accompany pattern from something very basic like that to something much more rhythmic and advanced like this? So you can see that the first way we played it was very, very basic. That is, we're using basic triad chords on our left hand, okay? And that's pretty basic, okay? And in the second method, we're using much more rhythmic patterns, something like this. You see that? So in this video, I'll be sharing with you about 3 beautiful left-hand patterns you can use over your worship songs. And trust me, it can also work in most other genres of music. So that shouldn't be a problem. So we're in the key of C sharp, but the principle still applies to any other key, okay? So instead of playing your basic triad chords on your left hand, the first pattern you can use is what we call playing in power chord, okay? That's the voicing, using power chord. So instead of playing this, okay, this is what we call the basic triad chord, which is what most beginners are used to, okay? Okay, so we're going to be using this. This is power chord, okay? You see that? This is what it sounds like. Okay, you can see this is different from this. This is the basic triad voicing. But let's start using power chord. See that? It just makes it open. It opens it up. You see that? So let me break this down in detail before we move to other tips. So we're in the key of C sharp, remember, and the principle C applies to any other key. So in the key of C sharp, remember this is the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. Okay? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, ti, do. So this power chord voicing, we are just playing it like this. We are simply holding the roots, which is the first note of the scale, the fifth note of the scale, which is this, and the first note of the scale again. That is the roots again. So it's going to be roots, fifth, and roots. As simple as that, okay? You can use any finger of your choice, but most often I prefer this, using my pinky on this, then I think this should be index finger, and then my thumb on this other one, okay? So this is the voicing we're going to be using on all chord qualities. So this is going to be the first chord, this is the second, this is the third, okay? This is the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, back to 1, okay? So to make this voicing, this left hand voices sound much more beautiful, what you can do, you can add some kind of rhythm. Instead of just playing it in block form like this, let's pick, let's say, so you can see I'm just playing it in block form, which in my own opinion, it still sounds good, but it would have been much more better if we had some kind of rhythm to it. So watch this. You see that? While I'm just playing, you can just add any rhythm of your choice, but this is what I'm playing. Okay, that is the roots, the fifth, the roots in the higher octave, and the fifth back to the roots. Okay, it's just kind of going up and down. So you see that? So for example, in the key of C, this is the scale. So this is gonna be the voicings. That's for, I'm just doing it for those who are not very comfortable with C sharp. So you can see. So this is what we just play. All right. So let's go back to C sharp and let's try this left hand voicing in another song. So let's pick another song. Let's say I will worship you forever, love you forever because this God is too good. Oh. You see that? So just the roots, fifth, and the roots. Okay. You can try this instead of playing your basic triad chords. So the next pattern you can play instead of playing your basic triad chord is this. Instead of just playing these triad chords on your left hand, what you can do, we're going to be extending this first tip. Okay, so instead of just playing the power chord, you're going to be playing the next two notes above this root note, yeah, right here. Okay, you're going to be playing the next two notes in the scale. Okay, so remember in this context, we're in the key of C sharp. Okay, or you can say D flat. So this is the roots. Remember, roots, fifth root. Then you add the next two notes upwards. That is towards the right direction in the key. So it's gonna be this and this. You add these two notes coupled with this power chord. Okay, so and you're gonna break it down to something like this. You see that? So instead of just playing this, we're breaking it down. Okay, you can go to another chord quality. Let's say to the 4, to the 5, to the 6, 3, 4, 6. You see, very beautiful. Okay, you can see I use this a lot personally, and it's honestly, this is super beautiful. Okay, instead of just playing your basic triad chords. So let's see this in a song. We can still use the song God Will Make a Way. God will make a way where there seem to be no way. He walks in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my God. Okay? So you can see it sounds so beautiful instead of just playing your basic triad chord, okay? You can choose to use any rhythm of your choice. It's actually up to you, okay? So there are no strict rules to this, but you can just play it anyhow. You can do this, okay? Or you can do like this. You see that? Okay, whichever way you want. But the notes we're playing are this. Okay, that is the root, fifth root, second and third notes of the scale. For the sake of beginners who are not very comfortable with C sharp, this is it in the key of C, root, fifth root, second and third. So you can use this. Okay. So the third left hand pattern you can use, which sounds so beautiful, instead of playing your basic triad chord, is using this pattern. You can call this stride, that's playing in stride. Okay, I think that's the music theory term behind it. But here is how the pattern sounds over a simple progression. That is the 1, 6, 4, 5 progression. Okay, I'm just using this progression, but it works most of the time in any way and with any progression. Okay, so it sounds something like this. Instead of just playing your basic triad chord, it's going to sound something like this. So here's how the pattern goes, and then I break it down. So 1, 6, 4, 5. You see that? 1, 6, 4, 5. 1, 6, 4, 5. So in simple terms, the way this pattern works is just that you strike the root note of this chord at the lower part of the piano, that is the bass part, and then you strike the subsequent chord of this root note. Okay, so if we're gonna strike the root note of the chord 1, which is this, then we're going to play the chord 1 at the upper octave. Okay, so it's going to be like this: roots, chord, roots, roots, chord, roots, chord. Okay, so the chord you are playing on the upper octave could be in any quality. It could be major 7, major, minor, whichever the case may be. But just know that we're going to strike the roots and the subsequent chord of that particular key signature, okay, or tone rather, okay, on the upper octave. So it's going to be like this. This is the 1, then you strike the 1 chord. For the 2, you play it like this: 2, then you strike the 2 chord, 3, then you strike the 3 chord, 4. You see that? 5, 6, 7, back to 1. Okay, so when we put this in context, that is played with a song, you see how it beautifies the song. So let's pick a simple hymn. Let's say pass me not, O gentle Savior. So you see that? You see that? Very beautiful. Okay, we just play the chord on the 1, so we strike the roots, then we play the chord in the upper octave. Okay, so let me give you this 4th pattern just like as a bonus tip. So the next beautiful left hand pattern you can play is just this, using this voicing, or let's say this pattern, something like this. So instead of just playing the basic triad, we're going to be playing something like this. See that? Okay, something like this. Okay, so you can see what I'm playing. Okay, you can use this also. It's very beautiful. You see that? So let me break it down in detail. So it's very simple. Instead of just playing your basic triad, or let me do this in the key of C for the sake of beginners. So what we're playing for each of the chords is just this. So instead of playing the basic triad like this, okay, we're gonna, you see this middle note, which is E. In this case, we're gonna move it to the upper octave, okay, which is this. So we're gonna bring this E, carry it to this part, okay, and then we're going to break the voicing, something like this. Okay, instead of just playing it in block form like this, we're gonna do like this. Okay, so this is how you play each of the qualities or each of the chord number system. You see that? Instead of just playing triad. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. Okay, so for the fingering, you can use any finger of your choice. Okay, or this is the way I like playing it. So you just kind of use your pinky, index finger on the 5th note, and your thumb at the upper octave. But you can see the way I'm kind of I don't know how to call this. Should I say rotating my fingers or pivoting? Kind of just rotating my fingers to reach this note. Okay, So I think this is what you also want to do if you are using this technique. You don't just want to kind of try to stretch. You kind of rotate your wrists. That's going to reach the note. It's going to make it easier. Okay. So these are just some beautiful left hand pattern you can try out instead of using your basic triad chords. If you find any form of value from this video, do it to like and subscribe. We'll see you in our next video.